You're not behind. If you feel like everyone else is ahead of you, this is for you. If you scroll through social media and feel like you're watching everyone else win while you're still at the starting line. If you wake up some mornings wondering how everyone else figured it out and you're still lost. If you're tired of feeling like you're running a race you didn't even know had started. Stop, breathe, and listen to what I'm about to tell you. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. I know that's hard to believe right now. I know your mind is screaming at you that it's not true. I know you have a list of all the things you haven't accomplished yet, all the milestones you've missed, all the boxes you haven't checked. But before you close this video and go back to beating yourself up about where you're supposed to be, give me the next 30 minutes. Because what I'm about to share with you might change the way you see your entire journey. The comparison trap. Let's start with the truth that's eating you alive. You compare yourself to everyone. Your old high school classmate who just bought their second house. Your college roommate who's married with kids and a career you don't even understand. Your cousin who seems to have it all figured out. That influencer who's younger than you and somehow has everything you want. And every single comparison is stealing your peace. Because here's what happens when you compare. You take someone else's highlight reel and compare it to your behind-the-scenes footage. You take their carefully curated success story and measure it against your messy, complicated, still-in-progress reality. You see their vacation photos and you don't see the debt they went into to take it. You see their promotion announcement and you don't see the toxic work environment they cry about every night. You see their perfect relationship and you don't see the arguments that happen behind closed doors. But you're comparing your whole truth to their partial story. And the cruelest part? You're doing it to yourself. Nobody's forcing you to scroll. Nobody's making you measure your worth by someone else's timeline. You're volunteering for this torture. You're choosing this pain. Every time you pick up your phone and dive into that endless scroll of everyone else's achievements, you're choosing to reinforce the lie that you're behind. The myth of the timeline. Let me tell you about this timeline you think you're behind on. The one that says you should have had your career figured out by 25, be married by 30, own a home by 35, have everything perfectly in place by 40. Here's the truth. That timeline was made up. It was created by people who lived in different economic conditions, different social structures, different realities than what you're living in right now. It was designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. And yet, you're beating yourself up for not meeting markers that were arbitrary to begin with. Who decided when you should be married? Who determined when you should own a home? Who wrote the rule that says you need to have your whole life figured out by a certain age? Society, culture, other people, but not you, never you. You didn't wake up one day naturally feeling behind. You were taught to feel that way. You were conditioned to believe that there's a right way to do life and a wrong way, that there's a schedule to keep, and if you fall off it, you've somehow failed. But life isn't a train that leaves the station at a specific time. It's not a race with a clear finish line. It's not a test you can fail. Life is your own unique journey, and the only person whose timeline matters is yours. What behind really means. Let's talk about what you really mean when you say you're behind. You mean you haven't achieved what you thought you would have by now? You mean your life doesn't look like you imagined it would? You mean you're not where your parents were at your age? You mean you don't have what your friends have? You mean you haven't checked off the boxes you set for yourself? But here's what you're not considering. What if being behind on someone else's timeline means you're exactly on time for yours? What if the detours you've taken were necessary? What if the delays you've experienced were protecting you from something? What if the doors that closed weren't rejections, but redirections? What if everything that didn't work out was actually working out, just not in the way you expected? Think about it. Really think about it. That relationship that ended when you thought they were the one. What if staying would have kept you from becoming who you needed to be? That job you didn't get that you were devastated about. What if getting it would have trapped you in the wrong path? That opportunity that fell through. What if it was making room for something better? What if you're not behind? You're just on a different route. The things nobody tells you. Nobody tells you that the people who have it all figured out are often just as lost as you are. They've just gotten better at hiding it. Nobody tells you that success isn't a straight line. It's a messy, winding, complicated path full of setbacks and failures and moments where you question everything. Nobody tells you that everyone is making it up as they go. Even the people who look the most confident, the most secure, the most successful, they're figuring it out one day at a time, just like you. Nobody tells you that there's no such thing as too late. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he franchised KFC. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. Stan Lee created his first comic at 39. Julia Child didn't release her first cookbook until she was 50. And yet you're sitting here at 25, 35, 45, whatever age, thinking you've missed your window, thinking your time has passed, thinking you're too old, too late, too far behind. But behind what? Behind whom? The only person you're behind is the imaginary version of yourself that you created based on other people's timelines. Zvaranza, the pressure you're carrying. Let's talk about the weight you're carrying right now. The pressure to catch up, the anxiety of falling further behind, the stress of not measuring up. You wake up every day feeling like you're in a race you're losing. You go to bed every night making lists of everything you haven't accomplished. You spend your present moment consumed with regret about the past and anxiety about the future. And you're exhausted, completely exhausted, because living in a constant state of not enough is draining. Measuring yourself against everyone else's progress is depleting. Carrying the weight of should have, could have, would have is crushing. You're so busy being disappointed in where you are that you're not even present for where you are. You're missing the beauty of your current chapter because you're too focused on the fact that everyone else seems to be on a different chapter. You're dismissing your progress because it doesn't match someone else's pace. You're devaluing your journey because it doesn't look like the journeys you see online. But your journey was never meant to look like anyone else's. Your timeline is yours. Your pace is yours. Your path is yours. And comparing your path to someone else's is like comparing a mountain to an ocean and asking which one is doing it right. They're both exactly what they're supposed to be. They're just different, and so are you. What you're actually grieving. If we're being really honest, what you're feeling isn't just about being behind, it's about grief. You're grieving the life you thought you'd have by now. You're grieving the version of yourself you thought you'd be. You're grieving the dreams that didn't happen the way you planned. You're grieving the expectations that didn't materialize. And that grief is valid. It's okay to mourn the gap between where you thought you'd be and where you actually are. It's okay to feel disappointed that things didn't go according to plan. It's okay to be sad about the detours and delays. But here's what you need to understand. Grieving is different from giving up. Grieving is processing, it's acknowledging, it's feeling, it's allowing yourself to be human. Giving up is deciding that because things didn't go as planned, nothing good can come. It's letting disappointment turn into bitterness. It's allowing grief to become a permanent identity. You can grieve the timeline that didn't happen while still being open to the timeline that's unfolding. You can acknowledge the disappointment while still maintaining hope. You can feel behind while still moving forward. The story you're telling yourself. Right now, you have a story running on repeat in your mind. It goes something like this. Everyone else has it figured out. Everyone else is succeeding. Everyone else is ahead. I'm the only one struggling. I'm the only one who hasn't caught up. I'm the only one who's behind. But that story is a lie. It's a lie your anxiety tells you. It's a lie that comparison feeds you. It's a lie that social media reinforces every single day. The truth is, everyone is struggling with something. Everyone has areas where they feel behind. Everyone has insecurities they're hiding. Everyone has moments where they feel like they're the only one who hasn't figured it out. Your successful friend, they're anxious about their relationship. Your married cousin, they're struggling financially. Your colleague who got promoted, they're battling imposter syndrome every single day. Everyone is fighting battles you know nothing about. And while you're busy thinking you're the only one behind, someone else is looking at your life thinking you have something they don't. Maybe it's your freedom, maybe it's your creativity, maybe it's your resilience, maybe it's your authenticity, maybe it's your peace. The things you take for granted might be the things someone else is desperately wishing for. What you've survived. Let's take a minute to talk about what you've actually been through, because I don't think you give yourself enough credit for what you've survived. You've survived heartbreak. You've survived failure. You've survived disappointment. You've survived loss. You've survived betrayal. You've survived your darkest moments. You've survived the job you lost, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, the dream that fell apart, the plan that didn't work out. You've survived every single day that tried to break you. And not only did you survive, you're still here, still trying, still hoping, still believing that something better is possible. Do you have any idea how strong that makes you? While you've been busy thinking about what you haven't accomplished, you've overlooked the most important accomplishment of all. You kept going. When it would have been easier to give up, you didn't. When it would have been simpler to stay stuck, you kept moving. When it would have been more comfortable to play it safe, you kept trying. That counts for something. That counts for everything. Your resilience is an achievement. Your perseverance is progress. Your refusal to quit despite how hard it's been, that's success. Maybe you're not where you want to be yet, but you're not where you were, and that's something worth celebrating. The comparison you should be making. If you're going to compare yourself to anyone, compare yourself to who you were a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Are you kinder than you used to be? Are you wiser than you were? Are you stronger than you've ever been? Are you more aware, more authentic, more aligned with who you really are? Because growth isn't always about the things you can see. Sometimes it's about the things you can feel. Maybe you don't have the career yet, but you have more confidence than you did before. Maybe you don't have the relationship yet, but you have better boundaries than you used to. Maybe you don't have the money yet, but you have more clarity about what actually matters. Maybe you haven't achieved the external milestones you thought you would, but you've achieved internal transformations that are far more valuable. You've learned who you are, you've discovered what you value, you've figured out what you won't tolerate. You've developed the wisdom to know the difference between what you want and what you need. And that's not being behind, that's being prepared. Because all those external things you're chasing, they'll mean nothing if you don't know who you are. They'll feel empty if you haven't done the internal work. They'll fall apart if you haven't built the foundation. And maybe the reason you don't have certain things yet is because you've been building that foundation. You've been doing the work that nobody sees. You've been growing in ways that don't make it to Instagram. What on time really looks like. Let me tell you what being on time for your life actually looks like. It's not about checking boxes at specific ages. It's not about matching someone else's milestones. It's not about achieving things just to prove you're not behind. And being on time means being present for your own life. It means showing up for yourself every day, even when it's hard. It means choosing growth over comfort. It means being willing to take the long route if it's the right route for you. Being on time means honoring your own pace. It means trusting your own process. It means believing that your journey has value even when it doesn't look like anyone else's. It means understanding that fast doesn't mean better, that first doesn't mean right, that different doesn't mean wrong. Some people sprint through life. Some people walk. Some people take the scenic route. Some people pause, turn around, and start over completely. And none of those approaches is wrong. They're just different. And the beauty of your life is that you get to choose your pace. You get to decide what matters to you. You get to determine what success means on your own terms. The permission you need to give yourself. So here's what I need you to do right now, in this moment. I need you to give yourself permission to be exactly where you are. Permission to not have it all figured out. Permission to still be learning. Permission to make mistakes. Permission to take longer than you thought you would. Permission to change your mind. Permission to start over. Permission to be human. Because that's all you are. Human. Beautifully, messily, imperfectly human. You're not a machine that should be producing results at a specific rate. You're not a robot that should be following a predetermined program. You're not a factory that should be churning out achievements on schedule. You're a person with a heart that feels, with a mind that doubts, with dreams that evolve, with a journey that's uniquely yours. And your journey doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be valid. It doesn't need to follow anyone else's timeline to be meaningful. It doesn't need to match anyone else's pace to be valuable. Your journey is enough simply because it's yours. What you're being prepared for. Here's something I want you to consider. What if you're not behind? You're being prepared. What if every delay has been developing your character? What if every detour has been deepening your wisdom? What if every closed door has been protecting you from what wasn't meant for you and preparing you for what is? What if the waiting has been building your patience? What if the struggles have been strengthening your resilience? What if the disappointments have been teaching you discernment? What if everything you've been through was necessary to prepare you for everything you're about to step into? Think about it. If you had gotten everything you wanted when you wanted it, would you have been ready? Would you have had the maturity to handle it? Would you have had the wisdom to maintain it? Would you have had the strength to protect it? Or would it have been too much, too soon? Would it have overwhelmed you? Would it have changed you in ways you weren't ready for? Sometimes the blessing isn't in getting what we want when we want it. Sometimes the blessing is in the preparation period, in the character development, in the internal growth that happens while we're waiting. The shift that changes everything. So here's the shift I need you to make. It's simple, but it's powerful. Stop asking, why am I so behind? Start asking, what am I being prepared for? Stop thinking, I should be further along by now. Start thinking, I'm exactly where I need to be to learn what I need to learn. Stop believing everyone else has it figured out. Start understanding everyone is on their own unique journey. Stop feeling I'm running out of time. Start knowing I'm right on time for my life. This shift, from scarcity to trust, from comparison to contentment, from anxiety to acceptance, this is what changes everything. Because the moment you stop fighting where you are is the moment you start appreciating where you are. The moment you stop comparing your journey is the moment you start celebrating your journey. The moment you stop believing you're behind is the moment you start moving forward. What forward looks like now. Moving forward doesn't mean sprinting to catch up to everyone else. It doesn't mean abandoning where you are to get where you think you should be. Moving forward means taking the next right step from exactly where you're standing. It means doing today what you can do today, not what you should have done yesterday, not what you'll do tomorrow, just today. It means being present instead of being perfect. It means showing up for your life even when it doesn't look like you thought it would. It means making progress even when nobody else can see it. It means choosing growth even when it's uncomfortable. Moving forward means forgiving yourself for what you haven't done yet. It means releasing the regret about the past. It means letting go of the anxiety about the future. It means trusting that your timeline is unfolding exactly as it should. That's the truth about your pace. Your pace is not a reflection of your worth. Your timeline is not a measure of your value. Your progress is not proof of your potential. You are not behind, you are becoming. Becoming wiser, becoming stronger, becoming more authentic, becoming more aligned with who you're meant to be. And that process doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't conform to a timeline. It doesn't care about what age you're supposed to have it all figured out by. That process happens in its own time, at its own pace, according to its own wisdom. And your job isn't to rush it. Your job is to trust it. Trust that every experience is teaching you something. Trust that every challenge is strengthening you. Trust that every delay is protecting you. Trust that every detour is directing you. And trust that you're being guided even when you can't see where you're going. Trust that your story is still being written, that your best chapters might still be ahead of you, that your greatest accomplishments might still be waiting. What I need you to remember, when you close this video and go back to your life, I need you to remember this. You're not behind, you're not failing, you're not doing it wrong. You're on your own path, at your own pace, living your own story. And that story doesn't need to match anyone else's to be beautiful. It doesn't need to follow anyone else's timeline to be meaningful. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's journey to be valuable. Your story is enough. Your pace is enough. Your journey is enough. You are enough, not because of what you've accomplished, not because of where you are, not because of how you measure up to anyone else. You're enough simply because you exist, because you're trying, because you're here. The choice you have today. So today you have a choice. You can continue to beat yourself up for not being further along. You can keep comparing yourself to everyone else. You can keep living in the anxiety of feeling behind. Or you can choose something different. You can choose to trust your journey. You can choose to honor your pace. You can choose to believe that you're exactly where you need to be. You can choose to stop running a race that doesn't exist and start walking your own path. You can choose to stop measuring your worth by other people's timelines and start defining success on your own terms. You can choose to stop feeling behind and start feeling present. The final truth. Here's the final truth I want to leave you with. Life is not a race. It's not a competition. It's not a test. It's an experience, a journey, an unfolding. And the most beautiful part? There's no deadline for becoming who you're meant to be. There's no expiration date on your dreams. There's no age limit on your potential. You can start over at 30, you can change careers at 40, you can find love at 50, you can discover your purpose at 60. You can begin again whenever you're ready. Because you're not behind, you're right on time. For your life, for your journey, for your story. So breathe, trust, believe. Your time is now. Your path is yours. Your pace is perfect. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. Remember, the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Everything else is just noise.